All right, we're live. What's up this wonderful Sunday morning? What's going on, Moff?
What's going on? Morning. Welcome back.
Thanks. Yeah, I had a fun week driving the Appalachian Mountains in the east coast of the States with a few friends. A little early in the season for it, though. There was a little bit of snow at the top of the mountain still. What's the top of the Mount Mitchell, which is the highest peak east of the Mississippi, which is pretty wild. Quite the view from up there. Lots went on. Good
Yeah,
times.
that's awesome. Made a statey friend, got pulled over once, or what happened with that?
Yeah, actually, that photograph where we ran into that state trooper, we got lost and we were on some shitty bumpy road in like Holler, I think they're called, which are like those fucking one-way streets or like no-way streets in the middle of fucking nowhere that mostly trailers are on, like the mountain people, from the old like coal zones where they're no longer mining coal. And this cop happened to live in the area, and we had to ride his tail for like a good 10 or 15 miles to get out of that zone. So we pulled over on the way out and we just had a quick chat. He was a nice guy. But the ones that see you doing things that may not totally be within the limits, they will turn on their lights and do a U-turn and have a go at chasing you. The rest of it we'll keep under wraps, though, because
Now, what kind of specs, what kind of motor, what kind of engine, like what does somebody have to keep up on one of these things? Like somebody's like, hey, Rich, I want to link up with you. I want to, do a rally. What do I
yeah.
have to have?
I mean, first of all, join the community, like straight up. I'm not going to roll with people that I don't know, like, and trust. So, you can find that at richcooper.ca. If you're top shelf guy driving nice cars, putting a dent in the universe, you should always start there. There's a 10% which Moff runs, and then there's a 1% which is a higher end, and then we've also got Generals here, which is above that. But as far as cars go, you need a fast car to run with a fast car group. There's Turbo S's, Exotics, McLarens, Ferraris, Lambos in a larger group. It's got to be a fast car. It's got to be something that keeps up with a Turbo S. Like I'm driving a Turbo S right now. It's very quick in a straight line, ridiculous on the brakes, and super fast around the bends. So it's got to be something around that caliber, at least, because otherwise you're going to get left behind.
Like you did a video about like the Turbo S versus the McLaren. I think somebody may have asked another question. You did that video, right? Or is that something you've been cooking up?
Yeah, I was kind of comparing the two because a lot of people are asking me how do you like the 720 versus the Turbo S. So there's a video on the Entrepreneurs and Cars channel, and I think overall, to sum it up, the McLaren's a more exciting car to drive, but she's a bitchy 10, so you're going to run into some consequential issues. Sometimes they're inconsequential, and the Porsche is just a pleasant 8. I would say it just works, and it's just about as fast anyway.
BB, good morning. Welcome to the show.
Hey.
What's up, buddy?
How's it going, fellas?
Doing good. How you doing, man?
Good.
How's your? Are you prepping for a show yet, or are you still?
August is the show, so it's a while, but prep's going good.
So tell us about that. What does that look like for you?
So I do a carb cycling diet, and so the thing about a carb cycling diet is that you can reliably drop 2 to 3 pounds per week. So depending on your activity for the week. So it's the carb cycling diet I got from the book Sliced, which is a book from the 90s, old school book. And it works. I've been using it for the last for every show that I've done. So it's been great. Thing about the carb cycling is that you can't overindulge in fats though, right? So carbs, it's easy. Like you can just eat rice, but nobody like can eat a stick of butter or just drink a quart of olive oil or vegetable oil, right? It doesn't work that way. So yeah, the carb cycling is the way to go. It's I've been doing it for years. So
can you explain it briefly so people understand what carb cycling is to lose those 2 pounds per week?
So carb cycling is you cycle your carbs on and off, and I would say like the big advantage of that is that you don't like what's the word I'm looking for? You don't binge on carbs. Okay, so for 3 days a week, you'll just have eggs and ground beef and chicken and vegetables, And then for the other 4 days, I'll have potatoes and rice, and that's pretty much it. So like for the
So
non-carb,
the days when you're on the carbs, you're not eating any protein.
no, you are eating protein.
Okay, so you're just swapping out the vegetables for
Fats.
potatoes and
Yeah,
rice and
so
stuff like that.
protein both days. So on the non-carb days, you're about 1,400 calories, and you're about 2,800 for my size. I'm about 200 pounds or 230 right now, but we're down to 200 pounds. So you can reliably drop about 2 to 3 pounds per week doing that. And I do about an hour of cardio per day, which is just low intensity, steady state, just walking.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's pretty methodical, to be honest, though, right? Like it's not uh, like you say, just do the work and the results come as long as you do the work, though, right? So it's like when you start, again, reliably, I keep saying this, 2 to 3 pounds per week. As long as you just do the work, the fat just melts off you.
Mhm.
So
And
yeah,
that's so it's no carbs for 4 days, exact same diet, but added carbs for 4 days, and then no carbs for 4 days, exact same diet, right?
yeah, minimal carbs, under 50 grams of carbs for
Okay,
the 3 days, and then for
which you're
the other.
probably getting from the vegetables, right?
Well, no, I don't count the vegetables. I'll have like 100 grams of potatoes, which is
Okay.
20 grams of carbs, and then I'll have 50 grams of oatmeal.
Do
Or
you
not,
do you weigh all this on a scale?
oh, I weigh everything.
Okay.
So, it's funny when girls come to my house and they see like scales and they see baggies because I use
I
a
think
suit.
you're a drug dealer.
Yeah.
Like
They're
what are
like,
you getting?
what do you do for work again?
Now, this is strictly for people listening. This is strictly in season. This is strictly for prep. Like you wouldn't be doing
Exactly.
this when you're training, trying to put on size because you obviously want that fuel and you want those carbs before you hit the gym.
I want to make sure that I get enough. Like in the off season, I want to make sure I get enough protein, and that's it, though, right? I'm not worried about carbs. I'm not worried about fats. I mean, obviously, I have my diet, though, right? So, but just I substitute with protein powder when I'm getting ready or when I'm in my off season because like you feel ripped off food wise when you're prepping and you want to like do a protein shake
Mhm.
instead of just having like having a chicken breast. Like you just like because you're always hungry, right? You feel ripped off,
Mhm.
right? When you just down a shake instead of actually enjoying
Yeah.
some chicken, though, right? So
Do you do
it's
any intermittent fasting at all, or that's just not something you factor in? You're always taking calories in.
well, so I like when when I'm dieting, usually like I'll have my 6 meals, but they're within 12 hours anyways.
Mm.
So it's intermittent fasting, but by default, right? Do you know what I mean? Like, so I'll
Yeah,
eat
yeah,
every
yeah.
2 hours. So I'm not like it's not a thing that I plan, but yeah, I do intermittent fasting. So
12 hours. Okay,
Yeah,
got it.
that's interesting. I want to ask you another question before I touch on that though. Like, so I'm kind of working that into my own routine. So I train weights 5 days a week. I started going back to like MMA kickboxing on Saturdays once a week. I do probably 6 miles a day during the week with a combination of walking outside to get some sun and then like incline treadmill. And then Sundays is pretty much like a complete off day from everything. So what I've started to try to implement, this is the first day I'm really trying to go for it, is what they call a monk fast, which is 36 hours. So Saturday night, eat dinner, whatever it is, fast all day Sunday. And then my first meal will be tomorrow morning before I train. Like I always eat breakfast before I train. So I'm trying to interested to see how that'll play out. But I had another question for you. Something that gets brought up a lot. So especially like in the 10% group, we have a separate chat for like fitness and lifting and a lot of that good stuff. The idea of like fasting and like one meal a day and protein consumption versus protein timing comes up a lot. Can you just touch on that a little bit and when guys are trying to optimize maybe too early and just what they should do if they're just basic beginners trying to hit their protein?
like, what aspect do you want me to touch
So
on?
a lot of guys think like, what's better? Is it one because you talk about your 6 meals a day and guys talk about, well, I do the one meal a day thing or I do the intermittent fasting. And then we talk about like protein synthesis spikes. So just like as a general sense, what have you learned in your own, ventures through, what's best for protein timing, or is it more important just to get it all in at once? What have you seen?
I think people are overcomplicating stuff though, right? So like it's just like you have your protein I guess goal, and then you have that and you reach it and you're good though, right? Like it's timing. It's like think about this though, right? Is that a lot of these people like they'll complain about the plastic on a receipt or whatever though, right? You know, they're like, oh, that fucks with your hormones or whatever. You know, you know what I'm talking about though, right? You know, like
the ink on a receipt, you know,
ink
seems
on a
to be
receipt.
like the new thing.
But they'll like drink alcohol, or they'll like you know, do all this other shit that's bad for you, right? And so it's like, yeah, like I'm guessing if you're going for like Mr. Olympia, then like the timing of your protein or something, like, you know, might be a thing. But for the average guy, just like take care of the basics first, though. And I guarantee you, they're not taking care of the basics. Like they're not like, you know, like it's just all that stuff just doesn't matter. Like you just have to just go to the gym consistently and follow your diet consistently, and you'll be good, though, right? So
yeah, there's
you
a lot of
you have to hit 200 grams a day. Just hit 200 grams a day. It doesn't matter how you do it.
protein. Yeah,
exactly, though, right? Because you're not going for Mr. Olympia, so it's not going to make a huge difference at all. But whatever.
I was looking at I'm going to call him a competitor's supplement line today because it showed up in my feed, and he had a product that was promoted as a nitric oxide booster. So I was interested. Okay, that's cool because I got a nitric oxide booster. I wanted to see what was in it, so I took a look at the ingredients, and it had literally nothing in it that legitimately boosts nitric oxide in your blood flow. Great seed extract, like a couple of bullshit fucking herbs. It's like, where's the L-citrulline? Where's the L-arginine? Like, where's the stuff that's actually proven to work? And a lot of people get sold, you know, people are persuadable when it comes to lots of things in life, including what it takes to build muscle, burn fat, look good, be competent. Yeah, there's a lot of misinformation, and you always get these like fitness influencers. You know, they're like, yeah, I'm totally natural, and you look at them and you're like, I don't think so, bro.
Creatine is probably the best bang for your buck, like, you know, easily. Like it's just, you know, the other ones, like the thing is that all supplements work, but I don't know if they're worth the money or not, though. Again, if you're competing for Mr. Olympia, then yeah, okay, you can spend the $100,000 a year on supplements and on gear or whatever, though, right? But for the average person, creatine, you know, and then, you know.
Whatever happened to Vanadil? Do you remember Vanadil? That was like something that was designed to modify your insulin levels. Do you remember that?
I don't know what Vanadil is. So
Vanadil was promoted by EAS back in my 20s. I think I'm about 10 years older than you, though, Big Black. So you may not remember it.
No, I don't remember it at all.
It was. Let me just do a quick Google search because I was just curious about it because it was hugely promoted back in the day. But I think it was causing downstream health issues around diabetes and blood sugar balance. Why did they stop selling Vanadil? It was like legit. Oh, yeah, Vanadil sulfate. Here you go. Oh, no, wait, it's still for sale. Ripping Rock Vanadil sulfate. Yeah, you can still buy it. Is it safe to take Vanadil sulfate? Hang on a second.
What does it do?
It's likely safe when used in amounts of 1.8 milligrams daily. Vanadin is possibly unsafe when used at higher amounts. Higher dosages might cause stomach discomfort, diarrhea, nausea, problems with nervous system, and kidney. I think it was kidney damage. So I think that's why they took it off the market.
So
they stopped promoting it.
I'll take it, and I'll be big Black from Canada next week when I come in.
Yeah, with fucked up kidneys, probably, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. So uses safe natural therapy for insulin resistance and diabetes, also used by bodybuilders to achieve fuller muscles. So that's what it was. I think it would ferry the nutrients from your blood into your muscles to make them fatter, is what it was.
There are a lot of people that mess with insulin for bodybuilding too, which it's not a good idea. So it's just messing with the insulin. I don't know. It's crazy what a lot of the guys do just to get big, though, right? And well, a lot of it is not necessary. Again, like if you're going to be Mr. Olympia, then okay, sure. But a lot of people, it's just not necessary.
Hey, while we're on, the air talking, we gotta chat about the the strike from Iran to Israel, because I was looking at Twitter, this morning, and it's like if you follow the pro-Israel accounts, they're saying that Israel intercepted 99% of the drones and missiles, and the ones that killed kids. And then if you follow the pro-Iranian accounts, they're saying 99% of the drones and missiles made it through and only hit military targets. Like, it's freaking hilarious when you look at the the comparison here. Like I always say, it's like, are you unplugging and seeing the code in the matrix? Like, what narrative are you following, right? Like, what are you paying attention to? But it's hitting the market pretty hard. Like, the crypto market took a huge shit. I don't really pay too much attention to the stock market, but I don't know where Dragos is today, but he's probably got a couple things to say about this.
Yeah, the Dow's down almost 500 points. S&P's down 75.
Yeah. Well, when they start dropping the interest rates, you'll see the stock market take a real shit. I mean, that's George Gamon's theory, anyway.
Yeah.
Did you guys watch some of his travel from Chile to Argentina road trip, where he tried to use Bitcoin and gold and silver to pay for gas and hotels and stuff?
No, this is George Gabon.
Yeah. I had him on a couple weeks ago on the Entrepreneurs and Cars channel talking about the the conference he's got coming up, and this road trip that he's doing, and his angle was to see if he could pay for gas and hotels strictly with outside of fiat currency, especially in Argentina, because they've got that fucked up like hyperinflation problem, which is gold, silver, and Bitcoin. And apparently he had a very, very hard time buying stuff in Bitcoin and gold. He said silver was like the main winner for barter of exchange, but everybody wanted fiat, like everybody wanted cash, even though the inflation issue is so big over there. So adoption rates are still super low when it comes to stuff like this.
I think that most people, if you handed them anything other than cash, would be confused. Like they wouldn't even know what to like.
People are persuadable. They like a ruler.
Yeah, but like cash is ingrained like from childhood. Greenbacks or like dollars is something that you're just like, okay,
straight up.
It's something that you're used to, though, right? So, but the thing about like with Argentina, that's the guy who's like slashing everything, like slashing spending.
He's the anti-woke guy that's like, I'm going to get rid of all those departments of feminism and gender transfers and transformers and all that sort of stuff.
And he's actually done well. Like from what I understand, he's done well. It's a model to other countries in the West in that it's like he's slashed spending on everything, and like Argentina had the worst deficit because Argentina back 100 years ago was like a paradise, I guess, though, right? But now it's just because of debt. They've ruined them, but he's slashing everything. From what I understand, anyways, I'm not too familiar with.
I think it's too early to tell because he's barely been in power for a year. I think less than a year, and it takes a while for things to happen. So we'll see what ends up happening over the coming years, if he's really a libertarian or if he's just full of shit like the other guys.
Yeah, it's been less than a year for sure.
Let me just here. I want to show you guys this other thing that popped up in my feed during this week. So Max Bernier, he's the Libertarian Party leader in Canada, and he shared this story in the National Post about an Ontario resident who they won't identify. By the way, it's a biological male, but because they identify as a female, she wants to keep his penis, but also have a vagina. And the title of this article, and I read it as well, Ontario resident wants both a vagina and penis, wins public funding for his unique surgery. A court has ruled that Ontario must pay for a penis-sparing vaginoplasty for a person who identifies as neither female nor fully male. So this dude apparently is going to go to Austin, Texas, where this is going to be performed, and Canadian taxpayers are going to pay for this surgery. You guys tell me what you think in the comments about that one.
Welcome to Justin Trudeau's Canada, though, right? Like,
where you can get free tampons in male bathrooms too.
Yeah, like at the no, I can't say that. But it's weird, to say the words like this would have been. I don't even know what to say. This like 10 years ago, this would have been ridiculous, though, right? But it goes to show that I think that like there's a whole psyop going on where stuff like this that's completely absurd is now commonplace, right?
Isn't it amazing that they locked us down, took away all of our rights, forced experimental vaccinations on people, made them wear masks and stand on dots for years over something that 99% of people survive under the age of 60 or whatever the hell the final stat was. But some random dude that identifies as a chick has the government pay for his surgery to placate his worldview of himself. I don't know. It's difficult to have these conversations because I know this is casting through YouTube. Maybe one day we'll just do like exclusive cast to Rumble when the subscriber count's big enough. But it's just a sign of the times. I want to show you guys something else here.
So what's funny is that, so just looking at that, because I read the National Post as well, and so the top comment on that article is that when it takes 6 months to get an MRI and you can't find a family doctor, but this dude can go and get this unnecessary surgery, for free immediately.
No.
When it literally takes you 6 months to get an MRI in this country, right? So
yeah, no, it's true. It's true. Here, I want to show you guys something else because Moff and I were talking about this the other day. I can't remember if we're doing it publicly or privately, but we're talking about these alpha male boot camps where you pay like $20,000 to get yelled at and do stuff to make you feel like a man. Let me just pull it up here, share screen. I don't know. Can you guys hear this if I play it?
Move forward.
Yeah.
Move.
Okay, so this is one of these typical, boot camps where it's like you yell and you do physically exertive things. I mean, it's a 59-second clip, so just watch it and we'll comment it on in a second. But just watch.
I'm strong. Move forward. Move forward. Move forward. I'm a man. Forward. I am. Move. I am a man. I am a man. I am a man. Move forward. I am a man. I am a man. Move forward. I am a man.
And then he goes into a full-on bitch sob.
There.
He's overrun with emotion because he allowed himself to let go and assert himself. Anyway, so we were talking about these before, and it's like there's this market for guys with man buns like this to pay for like Navy SEAL training. There was one that Spencer Cornelius did a expose on Boudris Kellyan, who was charging, I think, guys just tens of thousands of dollars, a lot of money to go away for a weekend and just get yelled at and shit on and sprayed water in their face and stuff like this, and carry logs and dropped on them. It's basically like man training stuff, and they call it like an alpha male boot camp, but it's
Boudris Kellyan, his boot camp or whatever.
It's
Called the
it's so weird that this exists.
Modern Day Night Project is his. Yeah. This guy's name is I was doing some research. Dave Cohodes. He's a doctor apparently. It's called the Unbreakable Man Experience. He's based out of DC. It looks like he did a small tour in the U.S. Army, and then he was a National Guardsman for a while, and now he runs this camp called the Unbreakable Man, based out of Austin.
I think personally, I think like those kinds of boot camps, if you do them every day, then I guess they're okay. Like if you practice those things, if you yell at yourself or whatever they were doing every day, then it makes an impact. But like doing something once at a boot camp and definitely not paying tens of thousands of dollars for it, but like doing something once is, if you go back to your old habits after that, it's not going to make a difference. But if you wake up every day saying like, I'm a man, like, how am I going to change the world today? How am I going to make a dent? What's my impact? Then yeah, the mindset can be useful, but not the yelling.
Yeah, imagine paying all that money to yell "I'm a man" and pushing another man backwards, whose job is to let you push you backwards to make you feel like a man.
Yeah,
like I think they've done some research on this, and it's either 90 days or 120. It's 3 or 4 months of change behavior to actually adopt the new behavior, and even then, you're gonna anybody that's tried to quit smoking or drinking knows that there's like a strong 3, 4, 5 month period where it's like you want to go back to your old ways, and there's that precipice where you have to sort of push on. You're not going to change your behaviors in a weekend at all. It's not going to
I
happen.
mean, it depends, though. I mean, there's an Alan, because I used to smoke and drink. There's a book with Alan Carr called "Easy Way to Quit Smoking, Easy Way to Quit Drinking," and change can be immediate with the right mindset. But like, I'm not disagreeing with you, to be honest. For most people, it's not easy, but you have to have the right mindset going in, which is kind of what I was saying with the with those boot camps, is that you can achieve that mindset on your own without paying somebody $10,000 to yell at you and go to a boot camp, right?
Yeah, so somebody said here in the comments, Will Ferrell masculinity boot camp, because dude like literally sounded like Anchorman. I'm a man.
I still haven't seen that movie, Anchorman.
Anchorman's hilarious, man. It's hilarious.
Yeah,
Will Ferrell's a cuck.
Yeah,
Sure.
I still haven't seen that movie. So you know what? I will promise you, I will watch it this weekend. So
Yeah, we look forward to your review. I mean, look, like what this thing largely misses is the ongoing brotherhood aspect of getting together and doing hard shit with guys. Like, there's nothing wrong with putting yourself through a 3-day crucible. I don't know what kind of programming goes on. I mean, we've got our own meetups with the 1% and the 10%, and we always try to do programming that teaches practical skills and guys that are trying to learn combat and protect themselves. There's always something physical, but also, a mental aspect to it. We've got a really awesome trip coming up to Algonquin next month. A little.
We will not be pushing other men backwards, yelling "I am a man"
We'll be
during
doing
that trip. I
stuff
can
like
promise
that.
you right now.
But these are sort of smaller snapshots and events through the larger community, which is giving these guys these opportunities, and then they can still continue to build bonds and grow on a day-to-day. So yeah, I don't, if you were doing one of these a month, then maybe, kind of like we like to do with our meetups, like every other month or every month, we've got something like this going on and we're giving guys opportunities. But though these are not, give me 3 days and I will completely transform your life to the tune of this guy charges $3,500 for the weekend, but some of the larger runs like Bedros runs is like 18 grand a head. But there's a market for it. But the problem is, like, I think it's selling these guys short. Like, guys like these clearly need a tribe. They clearly need a brotherhood. They clearly need to be around other men that are trying to get shit done in life. But yeah, you're not going to kind of find that in a 3-day experience and all go your separate ways. It's just not going to happen that way. It needs to be active. You need to be taking part of it. It needs to be part of your everyday life if you want to enact any real lasting change.
Yeah. Hey, change of pace. Something else I wanted to bring up today. Has anybody watched that series on Netflix about Moses?
No, I haven't seen it.
No.
Yeah, it was trending in Canada. So, I mean, we've talked about this before. Like, I'm more of an agnostic guy. But I was curious about it. Like, I'm always curious about, ideologies and themes that sort of conflict with my worldview, just to sort of challenge myself, right? So it's like, I sat and I watched this thing. I think it's 3 or 4 episodes long. They're about an hour and a half each. And it sort of takes you through the story of Moses versus the Pharaoh and taking his people, the Israelites, to the new land, blah, blah, blah. And I'm also big into like ancient history. Like, I know a ton about pyramids, ancient structures, the ancients, and the large stuff that they built. I've listened. I don't read books, but I've listened to a couple of Graham Hancock's books and watched a whole bunch of podcasts with Randall Carlson and Graham Hancock. All super interesting conversations. And it dawned on me after I watched it, because the story of Moses takes place in the Nile Delta, right? So basically where Cairo is today. And the most prominent features on the land at that time, which we know existed at that time, actually prior to that time, because we know the Sphinx is over 10,000 years old because of the water erosion around it, which couldn't have happened during the dry period. It only happened during the rainy period. So that's at least 10 to 12,000 years old. The pyramids, they're dating back to almost that old too, right? So well before Moses existed and that story existed. But I asked this on Twitter, the other day after I watched it, because I was curious. I said, Bible Bros, like, tell me where where have ancient structures, like large megalithic ancient structures, been included in the Bible? Because I didn't see any reference to the pyramids in that entire series on Moses versus, the Pharaoh. And they would have dominated the landscape. Like Cairo would have been tiny at that time versus what it is today. Like it would have dominated the landscape. Huge, massive structures with blocks that are so damn big. We don't even have cranes today that can move them. There's only, I think, 2 or 3 cranes in the world that can move the block, like the largest blocks that are in the pyramid. And they take 2 weeks to set up just to move from one area to the next. And these stones were mined like miles away. So why aren't these structures mentioned in the Bible extensively? The pyramids, or even Göbekli Tepe, or any of these massive structures that were built by the ancients? It's just a question I wanted to pose, to those watching and even you guys.
Well, I mean, like, there's a couple of things. Like, so first of all, like, are those structures germane to the actual, like, to the narrative of the Bible? And, like, I would say probably not. Like, like the structure of the cranes, or how they got, like, we
don't know how they got there. We have no idea how the pyramids are built. Like, my theory on it is that the ancients found them. I don't think that humans built them. To be honest with you.
Okay, for sure,
they were discovered.
For sure, but I'm saying that's not necessarily germane to the Bible. Like, the Bible isn't a. Like,
but why isn't it mentioned in the Bible? Is my question. Like, why isn't the oldest book in the world mentioning these ancient structures?
Well, probably because it wasn't germane to the story of the Bible, to the narrative, though, right? So the narrative of the Bible is the Jews. I mean,
if you can part the sea and tell the story of an interesting story like that, why is there no reference to these giant structures of the pyramid?
Well, because the parting of the sea was part of the narrative of the Jews escaping, being persecuted in Egypt, and escaping from Egypt, right? But it does say that the Jews were forced to make the bricks or whatever for like whatever, like, they were building. It doesn't say what they were building, but it just. Hang on a second.
But as far as I'm concerned, from that special, they were essentially slaves, but they didn't talk about the Jews building anything related to the pyramid or the Sphinx.
So to be sure, I haven't seen. I don't have Netflix, so I haven't seen the special you're talking about.
Okay. So
but I can say though that again, the whole narrative of the Old Testament, or the Torah in the Jewish thing, is that of the plight, not necessarily the plight, but there's a narrative where it's the Jews sin, God punishes them. They repent, they're saved. The Jews sin, God punishes them, they're saved. So this is a narrative that's like been going on for thousands of years at this point, though, right? So, but that's kind of the narrative, and so I'm not sure like how the Sphinx.
Hello.
Sorry, Drago. So I'm just going to mute you because you got some shitty feedback.
So I'm not sure, like, the mechanisms or how stuff was built is germane to the conversation, I guess, of the Bible. But you do raise a valid point in that how are these things built? But it's like, how are a lot of things built, though? In that, like, before stuff was written down, we didn't know about a lot of stuff, though, right? Like, there's the pyramids where they have like ink that's still as vibrant today as it was 1,000 years ago. We don't have that technology now, right?
Yeah, like, if you Google who built the pyramids, it says that the Egyptians built the pyramids, and you sort of scroll down, it's like, the pyramids of Giza were built by Khufu, first Egyptian king, anywhere from 2,000 to 4,000 years ago. So these were definitely on the plains during the story of Moses. Where's the other one? Began, Great Pyramid. And then they talk about slaves building the pyramids. But then that also goes back to the point of, like, there's blocks that are so large in the pyramid. There's only a couple of cranes today that have the capacity to pick up these stones and move them. And it takes 2 weeks to move them from where the, where the pickup point is. Where did Dragos go? Hang on a sec. There we go. From where the pickup point is to, like, the next point. So basically, if you've got a pivot point from here to here, you're moving them, I don't know, 50 feet.
But yeah, but it's like Easter Island.
So how the hell did slaves move blocks this big and mine them from miles away to put them on the Giza Plateau?
But it's like Easter Island is the same thing, though.
Yeah, same thing with that too. It's like, how the hell did they do that?
We don't know how, but somehow they did it, though, right? But we just don't know. all right. But there is a method that they, you know what? I'll give the example of, like, say, Damascus steel. Have you heard of Damascus steel? Do you know what that is?
The what steel?
Damascus steel.
Is this like a super strong steel or something?
It is. So,
Okay.
but so what they use is that nobody knew how they made the steel this strong, and so what they did, like, kind of carbon fiber back in the day, and that they would I'm not sure the exact mechanism, but they would have, like, trees, or they would have, like, dead wood, and they would mold that into their steel, and it would make their steel super strong. But nobody knew how they did it until, like, maybe like 50 years ago. But this is like 3,000 years ago. Damascus steel was known, but there were only a few people who know the actual mechanism to do it. And it's kind of the same thing, I think, with a lot of these things with Easter Island and with Egypt, in that they didn't know how people actually did it, and the people that knew are dead and been dead for thousands of years.
Yeah,
So,
that's the point that
there was
Graham
nothing-
Hancock makes, is that we're a species with amnesia. Like, we have forgotten how certain things that exist out in the world today were created.
Well, like, we've only had the written word for, like, what, 10,000 years now, or fewer than that, right? So unless somebody wrote it down and taught it to somebody else, and even then, like, you know, the libraries in Kush were burned by the Ethiopians or whatever when they invaded, though, right? Like, you know, it's been yeah, like, the whole thing is that you come in there and you invade somebody, you burn their books, you torch their libraries, you pillage, and so a lot of knowledge.
I think it's a legitimate question to ask, because there's all these massive structures around the world that were built before the Bible was written, and there's no real mention of them. It's like they're excluded. So that makes me wonder, is the Bible older than these structures, and the structures didn't exist? Which means that some of these, you know, the Bible would have been written tens of thousands of years ago.
Bible's
Or-
6,000 years old, I think, is when the Bible.
Okay. So
yeah.
loads of these structures would have existed prior to or even during. Like, we know Göbekli Tepe is over 10,000 years old, and somebody buried that whole fucking thing, which doesn't make any sense. They don't really have an explanation for that. They have structures that are, like, so finely, precisely put together, you can't even slip a razor blade between the edges of the stone that they've stuck together. So, you know, I always, again, you know, like, I'm a guy that questions things. It's like, okay, why? And I'll keep asking why, you know, until I get to an answer. And if I don't get to an answer, it's like, I'll just kind of go with whatever's off. Yeah, Jerry's in the chat. He's like, the aliens had big cranes. I mean, that's, you know, like I said, one of the theories that I think is probably most relevant is that they didn't build them, they discovered them, you know? So could be that too. We'll see.
It's possible. I
guess we lost Dragos. I don't think he's got a good connection. You guys want to talk about that Kaká story?
Might as well.
Brazilian football player. So Kaká is a funny word because it's Greek for shit, basically. But this Brazilian football player, apparently, high value beta, I think is what we can call him. I'll probably have to, you know, make a few notes on this one and make a video on my car, sort of like chopping it up. But it's like, you know, you have these high value betas that are getting left by women. World class footballer, married for several years. The quote that she makes, she's divorcing this guy. Kaká never betrayed me. He always treated me well, gave me a wonderful family, but I was not happy. Something was missing. The problem was that he was just too perfect for me. So, I mean, we see this where, you know, you're too perfect of a man and women still find shit to complain about and divorce men. There was a Reddit post that I did a video in my car about a month or so ago. You can go find it in the Entrepreneurs and Cars channel. You know, something about a perfect guy that, you know, she describes as successful, making money, helps nonprofits, puts a dent in the universe, physically strong, can fight, has a good circle of friends, you know, is faithful to me and all that sort of stuff. Like all the things that women ask for. And it's like, she's still fucking finding shit to complain about. And we've got this world-class footballer that's getting left by his wife. What do you guys think about that?
I mean, the fastest way to.
I don't know. I think.
I was just going to say the worst thing you can do to a woman.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Yeah. Give her everything she ever wants and bore her. Like that's it.
That's
They're
right.
directly correlated. I mean, she got bored. Like that's what it was. They love to manufacture drama. It's in their DNA. I was talking to my girl about this, and she's kind of, you know, she watches a lot of this stuff. She watches the shows that we do, And I was like, yeah, you're a girl. You do this too. She's like, do I like manufacture drama and start shit for no reason? I'm like, yeah, you do. Oh, it's fine. Like, because shit, like I'm like, you're
They don't
going
even
to.
know what they do. Yeah.
She's like, wow, what the? I was like, it's subconscious and you can't help it. But luckily, you have somebody like me that knows how to deal with your bullshit when it comes up. Otherwise, you would just get your way and some dude would just lay down and you would have your way with him. So, yeah, I mean, yeah, you seem like you
How
got
do you
like
get
a
rid of these
problem.
goddamn ads? Why are they so, come on. There we go.
But yeah, too perfect, too nice, to give me everything. They
Considered
need.
one of the most handsome footballers ever.
Yeah, they need the drama. They're addicted to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. It's just the drama that they love the drama. They're addicted to the drama. It's not that he even necessarily did anything wrong, but she's like, I'm not happy, because the feeling that she had though, right? And so that's pretty much exactly what you were saying, Love.
I don't think that you can get any more prolific because football is the most popular sport in the world. It's watched by more people than Formula One even. I think Formula One's number 2. So if you're a prolific, handsome guy that's a world-class athlete that men want to be and women want to be with, then it doesn't get any better than that. Like, it's like, how much higher value can you get than that? That's it. Right? But still, if you're boring, it's like, Moff said earlier, you want to get rid of a woman, give her everything she wants and bore her.
Yeah, like our pal and repeat friend of the show, Caroline, had her list on this past Monday about everything I want in a future man, future husband. And she could very well she won't get that, but she could very well in a hypothetical world get all that. And I guarantee she'll find a way to be unhappy about it. Because there's nothing in there saying, I need to argue with him, or I need him to put me in my place, or I need him to lead me and tell me to shut the hell up when I need to shut the hell up, because that's what they really need. I always say, don't give women what they want, give them what they need. And a lot of them have no idea what that is. And so that's why guys need to find the work that we do and then apply it and stop listening to what women say what they want.
Yeah. No,
but the same token though, like it's freaking exhausting giving women drama. Like, I'd rather, to be honest, just like find a woman that's low maintenance and not have to deal with the drama, because it is freaking exhausting.
I've never found a low maintenance woman. All
you can
women
reduce it as much as
require
possible.
You can reduce the maintenance.
You can get it to a pretty manageable rate, but it's always going to be there.
Yeah, it's like, the question of maintenance, like how much maintenance is required to manage the relationship so that both people are going to be content and happy in it and attracted to one another and want to do shit. And it's like, it's an excellent question. It's a question that a lot of the black pillars and like the hardcore MGTOWs will bring up. It's like, if Brad Pitt couldn't do it, if Kaka couldn't do it, it's like, if Jeff Bezos couldn't do it, like what makes you think that you can do it, sort of thing. And it's like, there's some truth to that. There's always going to be a level of bullshit that you're going to have to put up when dealing with women, because they're not men. Like, they're not rational. They're not consistent. Like, they're not, again, they're not men. And I think that we make the mistake many times as men, treating them like they're us. It's like, if I just make some rational arguments to her in a disagreement, then everything will be resolved. It doesn't work that way. Like, you legit have to sit there sometimes and listen to their bullshit and their drama and just nod your head and say, how does that make you feel? Uh-huh. And then go and do what you were going to do anyway, sort of stuff.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, like in your chapter on your book on red flags, it's just, you just try to minimize the red flags. Like, I know, like with my last LTR, she didn't have any like Instagram or Facebook or any social media at all.
Yeah.
She didn't do girls' nights out, that kind of thing, and so you just kind of go through the red flags and you minimize the red flags is what you can do. But obviously, like, women are going to be women, and so you can't remove that aspect of it. But
That's
again,
what makes us like them, right?
well, but again, just minimize the red flags. So just spot them and then try to minimize them, recognize them. I say the real danger is in not recognizing the red flags.
One of the consistent arguments that come up often is find a girl that hasn't been with a lot of guys because she hasn't been imprinted on by a lot of dudes, and she'll be more faithful. She'll be a better wife and a mother. And I think a lot of the stats that they've collected on marital happiness and all that sort of stuff correlate with that accurately. But like one of the things that popped from my conversation with Casey Jones, who's a polygynist with 6 wives down in Australia, and I did a private Zoom recording. If you guys haven't seen it and you want to see it, opt into my email list at entrepreneursandcars.com/red-flags, and it'll be sent to you. Don't ask me to send it to you. It's in the series. It'll be sent to you after whatever, 10, 12, 15 emails. But it's a private conversation that I recorded and uploaded an unlisted video. And one of the things that he said from his observations, and I believe this, because he's led an interesting life. You'd have to watch the whole video to understand it. But he's not one of these fraudster, like Mano Swamp douchebags that have like a PUA course. It's like, I've banged 2,000 women, so buy my course. Like, he's not that guy. He's a guy that's done it quietly, made some observations, not looking for fame, doesn't have a course to sell or anything like that. And he said, he found that the women that were the least unfaithful to him were the ones that were virgins, because they would get it so good with them that they would think that there was better somewhere else. And I thought that was an interesting soundbite to drop. What's your guys' experience been with that?
He said that they were the least faithful.
They were the least faithful in his opinion, because he would give it to them so good that they would think that there was something else better out there and cheat on him.
I mean, FOMO is a thing, I guess, so, right? Fear of missing out, is a thing. But I would say, to be honest, it has more to do with his lifestyle. Like when you have 6 wives, okay, and then, that dynamic, first of all, is obviously rare, right? And so when you have 6 wives and a new person is coming in, they're just like, okay, well, am I the best, or is he the best, or like, am I making sense here? Like, that dynamic is just it's weird. It's not something that you can,
I personally, like, I get the want for variety and to have a harem of women. Like, I get it. I'm sure there's a level of pride associated with driving around 6 wives in your car and going out for dinner with them, all sort of thing. But I just can't fathom or have any interest in wanting to deal with 6 women simultaneously. Like, that just seems like a fucking nightmare.
Yeah, I mean, even dealing with speaking of the Bible before, like, just a lot of the people in the Bible, they had like multiple wives, and it was always a nightmare. Yeah. Always a nightmare. So
yeah, what was that line from the Bible that you quoted? Something about living on the roof rather than being with a
yeah. It's in Proverbs. It's better to live on the corner of the roof than share a house with a argumentative wife, though.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. So even back in those days, like, when was that written roughly?
Proverbs was, I think, Solomon wrote most of the Proverbs, so that would have been 3,000-4,000 years ago.
So 4,000 years ago, guys were still dealing with bullshit.
It's not just that. So it was like, so Jacob had married Leah, and then he was tricked into marrying Leah. He married Rachel as well, though, right? So they were sisters. Mm-hmm. And then it was like, so this Leah's son had come from the field with kumquats or whatever, though, right? And so then Rachel was just like, can I have some of your kumquats? And she's like, oh, so not only do you steal my husband, now you want to steal my kumquats? No. Jacob's like, oh my God, these women. He's just like, because they were sisters, though, right? Like, it's just, I don't understand how you would have 6 wives when just even dealing with 2 was a nightmare back in the Bible. Like, I don't understand it.
I mean, God bless Casey Jones and his, his life and his stories and stuff. I'm going to follow him and see how it unfolds for him over the years, but it just seems like a freaking nightmare, man.
Well, it seems really odd to me. Like, it goes against everything that, we kind of know about women's hypergamy and what she actually wants, especially for virgin women, how affected they are when they sleep with a guy for the first time and how that guy imprints on her. So I don't know. I mean, it sounds like to me, maybe they're not actually virgins, or maybe they're looking to BB's point, like maybe they're looking at the lifestyle and saying something along the lines of, I don't want to compete. I don't want to be second or third or fourth. I want to be number one, and maybe this isn't the guy that I can ever be number one with. Mm. But you could also say on the other side of that coin is that, women would rather share an alpha than be solo with a beta. So I mean,
that's true.
Yeah, it's definitely that's interesting.
Well, yeah,
That's
but I think the point is though is that all the drama that comes with women sharing an alpha.
Dealing with 5 other chicks, right? Like you're not just dealing with just dude, you're dealing with drama and intrasexual competition with chicks that are in your own household. So it's constantly a fight.
Yeah.
All right. Do you guys got anything else you want to chop up while we're on today? I'm out of weird shit that happened this week.
Y'all good here?
Oh, one more thing, actually. Watched another Netflix special on what Jen did. Did you guys see that one? Trending number one. Yeah, it's this Vietnamese chick. Some of you guys must have seen this by now, but because it's trending number one on Netflix. But it's this Vietnamese chick from Markham, Ontario. So I live in the Toronto suburbs, so it's not far from me. Who called in the cops that that 3 black men had broken into her home and shot her parents and tied her up. And the whole thing, it's a 90-minute special, basically sort of like breaking down the investigation to see what happened. Turned out this chick was a pathological liar. And I knew from like the first 10 minutes because they showed the first interview. It's funny, man. This is how honed my skills are now. For the first 10 minutes of the interview, like I'm watching this chick and, the police are asking her questions and I'm watching her body language and listening to how she's answering the question. I'm like, she did this. I'm like, she did this whole thing. Like she orchestrated the whole thing. Like she either killed them or she hired people. Like I was sitting there just like, you did it. Like I was basically like yelling at the TV, like, don't bullshit me. Right. It's like, after the 90 minutes, she ended up hiring hitmen to kill her parents because she couldn't be with this dorky ex-boyfriend of hers that they didn't like because he worked at Boston Pizza and he wasn't good enough for her. And they wanted her to be a pharmacist. And she ended up lying about going to university to get a pharmacy degree. She even made this fake degree. Like the whole thing unfolded. You're like, are you fucking kidding? Like this is like TLDR, this is the web of lies that women can create, like the story that they can create to manage their reputation and to cover things up. It's unbelievable. It's a crazy story. Go and check it out. Go and check it out. It's 90 minutes of holy fuck.
TLDR women.
TLDR bitches is crazy. Sorry, bitches can be crazy. Let's not say all women are. Okay.
I guess another thing we could talk about, it's been done to death this week, is that O.J. Simpson, though, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, O.J.
Did he ever admit on his deathbed that he did it?
No. There's that. Yeah, there's that picture, but I don't think that he admitted that he did. But like he low-key admitted over the years, though. He even had a book saying, what was it? If I Did It, I think was the book.
Yeah, If I Did It was the name of the book. It was like,
oh, really?
Yeah.
During an interview, he was just like, yeah, if I did it, I would have seen him, delivering a thing, and he would have attacked me, and I would have grabbed the knife, and I would have killed him. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy how he would publish an entire book detailing the crime, saying, "But I didn't do it. But if I did it, this is what would have happened, though, right?" Yeah. And I think he's still owed $100 million to the Goldman families, which is whatever. It is what it is. But yeah, he still owed a lot of money to them. But it's funny in that. Well, not funny. Maybe this is nothing wrong. It's ironic in that that's when kind of race relations were at the worst.
Yeah, was that around Rodney King?
Yeah, so the reason he got off, and they did interviews afterwards, and they were saying that, oh yeah, this is payback for Rodney King, and so it's like he let him murder, because it's well known now. I think like back in 1995, it was like 20% of black people thought that OJ was guilty, but like 80% of white people, But now it's more like 70% of black people. But back in the time, they were like, oh, this is payback for Rodney King. Which is insane.
Did Rodney King die, or was he just tased? Because I think he was just tased, wasn't he?
He was beat the
shit out of him.
Yeah, but he's still alive, right?
Yeah, he's still alive.
Yeah, so it wasn't like George Floyd, because people lost their shit and started burning down cities. But the same thing happened with Rodney King. But Rodney King didn't die; they just beat him.
Yeah,
what made Rodney King such a landmark thing is that it was like there was no cell phone. It was none of that stuff had ever been recorded. It was kind of like the first thing that had ever been recorded, and now there's body cams and everybody's got cell phones. So that's why it was like the first time it was ever really publicized. But yeah, I mean, they've done interviews recently with jurors on the case, and they're saying, yeah, a lot of people knew OJ was guilty, but they were like, whatever, this is payback, or we're getting revenge, basically. Yeah, pretty fucked up.
Crazy. Insane. All right. Well, you guys want to wrap it up? Call her a day?
Yep, I'm good.
Damn straight. All right. Well, we're doing ladies' night tomorrow night. Moff's got a panel of guests lined up. I'll be back for Unplugged Alpha on Wednesday at noon. You got your Moff's hour scheduled for Thursday. So lots going on this week. Make sure you subscribe to the Entrepreneurs and Cars channel. Visit the website, richcooper.ca, for all my other stuff. And if you're a gal watching the show and you want to hop on ladies' night, make sure you DM Moff, and he'll get you scheduled in. I'm happy to chat about anything or anything you guys want to ask. So thanks for watching today. Have an awesome one. Peace out.